cactus and succulent growers. I'm Lynn and welcome to Desert Plants of Avalon. And today it is actually 30 degrees Celsius here in the Polytunnel, and we are having some of the most remarkable, gorgeous, warm, sunny spring weather that we don't normally get this early in the year. And guys, I'm going to be doing something tonight that I said I wasn't going to do until after I'd moved house. And that is, I'm actually going to be watering some of my cacti and practically all of my succulents for the very first time after the winter. Now, those of you who've been watching my videos know that I'm going to be moving house it's actually going to be just under 2 weeks now. And I did mention, obviously for practical reasons, I wasn't going to water any of these cacti until after I've moved, because when we move, obviously it's going to be easier to move cacti that are lightweight in their pots than when they've been watered. And also the fact that until we get the new greenhouse delivered, which could be even a couple of months because they're very busy, the plants are all going to have to go out into the garden on the tables and many under the tables, and probably protect them with some bubble wrap and things like that from excess rain. But now it's going to be sort of like the middle of April when we move, that the plants hopefully should be okay. Worst case scenario, we'll have to bring them all into the indoors if they forecast any frosty nights, and we're going to keep a lot of them in the sort of crates that we've got here, but keep them open so they're going to get plenty of light, and therefore they're still going to be able to bloom out in the garden until we get the greenhouse. However, as I mentioned, we've had a couple of weeks of absolutely gorgeous sunny weather. This week particularly has been beautiful. So if you live in the UK or Ireland, I'm sure you'll agree with me, it's absolutely amazing weather. And as a result, there are so many of my cacti and definitely the succulents that are dying for a drink. Now, if I wasn't to water them, they're very unlikely to die, unless they were very young seedlings. However, this is a valuable part of the growing season now, because although I always say I wait anyway, nearly always anyway, pardon me, until the second week of April at least, before I do water them all up for the first time, because the weather has been really gorgeous, much earlier than we normally get. I'm in the dilemma where I really don't want to put off watering a lot of the cacti, because many of them are clearly waking up. Signs of buds there, as you can see. My echinocereus is popping out their buds there. And just look how wrinkled this one is. It looks very hungover. These are going red as well, my camelobivias. And they're also starting to come into bud. You may just see the very beginnings there, the little white tufts come in. And if I didn't water these now, it's quite possible by the time we move, they could just dry up and not flower. So although I always say that it's safer to wait until the middle of April, as I mentioned many times in when do you start watering your cacti, again, it just depends on the temperatures. And I'm not naive enough to know when we move in the middle of April, it could go very cold again, but there's not much I can really do about it. I mean, look how shriveled that is. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be just starting up watering the ones that really cannot go any longer with the watering for the first time after the winter months. And luckily it's mostly the ones in the small pots, such as all of these here. I'm going to be watering all of these because they're in small pots, and to be honest with you, when it comes to packing them in the boxes, they're not going to really weigh a lot more. In fact, if they're watered, it may give them even a bit of stability, because they're going to fatten up and be a little bit more firmer when I do pack them up. So it's not going to be an issue. Clearly new signs of growth here coming up. They're all really waking up because of this gorgeous, beautiful weather we're having. Just look at the buds as well on this Aporophyllum, Porocactus malisoni. I just can't go any longer. So obviously these big cacti here, they can definitely wait until after the house move, and they're large cacti. They're quite plump still. They're not going to hurt at all to wait till we move. And then once I've got them all out in the garden, these big ones I'll probably be protecting from excess rain by putting under the tables in the garden until we get the new greenhouse up. And then I'll be in control of the watering. But they're going to be very, very heavy if I watered them, you know, a week or two before we move. Same with all these giants here. There's no way I'm going to be watering these until after the house move, because they're in very heavy pots anyway. They're going to be very, very difficult and heavy to move, and if I water them they're going to be like 10-ton bricks. So no, it's not an option. But all the other ones, even my Cactus Collection and a lot of the others can be watered. My Opuntias, obviously I'm going to be starting them up with a bit of watering. The ones in the small pots here definitely would appreciate their first watering here, because they're all in small pots too. Clearly see they're going a little bit red as well when they're getting plenty of sun, which is, I'm not complaining about the lovely sun at the moment. It's absolutely brilliant to see. This aloe as well, you can clearly see it's took on a lovely blush appearance, and the leaves start to sort of close in when they're dehydrated, so this needs a good drink. So what I'm going to be doing is just starting up watering them up for the very first time after the winter, just the ones I've mentioned here. And I have been sort of lightly watering a lot of the aloes and gasterias and that as well, because even over the winter they sort of do like a wee bit of water. But it's been a while since I did give them any more water, and you can see the gasteria there taking a beautiful sort of peachy colour appearance because it's very dry, and these I'm going to give a bit of watering too. So then that's why I'm going to be watering some of my cacti and succulents now, when I said I wasn't going to until the middle of April, and also when I said until after I move, because you never can plan these things, and because we are having the most gorgeous weather at the moment, as I mentioned, it's good for me to give them a wee bit of watering, their first watering, because I don't want I could be losing valuable growing and flowering time by holding back on the watering. And the ones I'm going to be watering, if the weather does take a turn for the worst again, they're quite tough plants. See, the difference is when you water cacti in the winter when they are dormant, they're dormant and they can rot because they're not needing water, so the roots they just go to sleep like the cactus. But when they've woke up, plants are clearly waking up now. They're sending out buds. You can clearly see they're taking a bit of a pinkish hue to them and, you know, waking up. Then if they are kept wet and the weather does change again, it's unlikely they will die anyway, so it's pretty safe. So I just have to mention all of that to you, because I don't want you to think I'm a hypocrite when I'm saying to you all, wait until the middle of April, because as I do mention also, it just does depend on the temperatures, and it looks like the weather's going to be pretty good for the next couple of weeks, so hopefully it'll be good with the house move as well. And when I do have these boxes, I'm going to show you when I do pack them up. I think a lot of them can just go directly in the crates. We can put the crates on top of each other onto the van, and then when we get to the new house they can go in the garden, and the crates won't have any covers on them, so it means they're still going to be getting plenty of light. Our new garden is thankfully facing exactly the same direction as this one is, which is south facing, so that's going to be great regarding the plants. I know that when they're coming into bud and cactus get moved, that, you know, I may lose a few buds and stuff like that, but I'd rather lose a few buds than lose any cacti. It's just one of them things. But hopefully I'll still get plenty of flowers if we sort of care for them. We sort of give them as much light as we can, and the boxes can be open the other end so they still get all that sun, and I protect them from excess rain till we get the new greenhouse anyway. So as you can see, some of them are very hungover looking, and this white powder, by the way, is just diatomaceous earth that I sprinkled on them. It's not bugs. That's done a really good job at keeping mealies away over the winter months. It's been brilliant. So that's my waffle. Look how red and blushing these are, because it's been very sunny, but clearly shriveled. They need a good drink. And it doesn't matter, because all of these trays are going to be coming off with the move, and I'm going to be thoroughly cleaning them. So it doesn't matter if water gets on the trays and it looks messy. It's a bit messy here anyway in my polytunnel at the moment, as you can see, because I have been getting plants ready for the move. But anyway, waffle over. Now I'm going to just mention how I do give them the watering. Now when I start them up with watering for the very first time after the long winter, you do have to remember that if I was to go in here now and just but them all with tons and tons of water, so they're thoroughly wetted. Well, the roots also, they are waking up now, but it's good to wake the roots up slowly. So however hot it is at the moment, I am going to start them up with just a light watering. I'm going to show you how much water I give them. I did a similar video only a week or two ago when I did my indoor cacti, so it will give you an idea just how much to give them. And then obviously then I wait then for another week or two till the soil is totally dry before I give them their first real deep proper watering. But as I say, that won't be till after they have all moved to our new home. But definitely going to start some of these up with a wee bit of water now, because the weather has just been amazingly gorgeous. And clearly what it looks like when cacti wake up, the new little spines on there, this farrow cactus, lovely. The spines sort of come out sometimes pinkish when they start to emerge after the winter months, but they're all doing really well, and I know that they're itching for a bit of watering. And because, as I mentioned, I'm not going to be giving them a deep watering, that's going to be for the second watering I give them in a, you know, once we move, then it shouldn't make much difference to the weight when we move in house. Oh my gosh, what a dilemma. And got all the crates ready here as well. The good thing is with these crates for the move, even all these little trays, they've all got holes in, is that when we put the tables up into the garden before we get the greenhouse, as I mentioned, could be a couple of months, we're not quite sure, they're so busy at the moment before they can deliver, but these crates can just go either under the table, on top of the tables, and we've got tons of bubble wrap. In fact, in our shed we've got loads and loads and loads of bubble wrap, as you can see here, so this can be loosely thrown over them and just pegged down if we get a lot of rain, and the bubble wrap will be loose, so it's not gonna, they're not going to overheat. I can just remove it on the dry days. So happy days there, and it's going to be all fun and games probably in the next few days. That's when we're going to be packing up, so giving them a water now that need it also means it's going to give them a good drink up and get through the move. Now, I just want to mention, I should have mentioned this earlier, the best time to water cacti is always towards the evening, and because it is so warm at the moment, as I mentioned, it is like 30 degrees Celsius in here, and that's with the door wide open. Because it is so warm, I'm going to wait until it cools down in here, and the reason for that is that cacti can take up water much better of an evening time. That's when they sort of take up their water, and you know, a lot of people say, oh Lynn, that's rubbish, I water mine in the middle of the day, or you know, in the mornings, and this is only just my personal preference. I just think it's better because you're watering them of an evening, and this personally I find is better for the cacti of an evening time to water them. And then the sun has gone down as well, like it's going to be another very warm day tomorrow, so if I was to water them very early in the morning at 6 or 7 in the morning when it is cool, it'll only be an hour or two before it gets roasting again in here, so it's much better the evening. They've got all of the cool evening then, and without any sun to take up that water. So then guys, I've got my long handled nozzle. I like to use one of these little pump sprays here because with the long handled nozzles I can reach all the ones at the back, but as I mentioned, I'm going to be just watering the ones that are in the small pots that can't go another couple of weeks. So first of all is this one here, one of my echinopsis, and just look how shriveled it is. So what I do when I give them the first watering is like a bit of an early pre-watering before I give them a proper watering in another couple of weeks. So I would go like this. I always like to overhead water if I can. And as I mentioned, it's actually the evening now. It's about 6 o'clock. It's the best time to water this, and that's enough, and that's all I'm giving it. Just enough to give the soil a good wetting, but not thoroughly heavily watered, because it's the first watering after the winter. I'm going to hold back on these. This one is clearly shriveling, so knock that old bud off there. I'm going to be doing this now. A bit of overhead watering is always nice as well. This will just sort of help to wake them up a wee bit. And this one here, it's bending over. And then these other ones look pretty much okay. They can go till after the house move. I'm going to just double check here, as I say, just the ones that really need it in this occasion. And these ones are all in the small pot, so yes, I do have to with these first watering. Just see how much I give them just the first time here, and more of a deeper watering the next time. This one's coming into bud as well, so that needs to be started up. Hold back on these. This one is very shriveled. And then this little boocher is one as well, needs it. So as I say, I did want to wait before starting them up because moving, but these cannot go any longer. That's very shriveled. This one as well. These ones in the small pots have to be watered now because we're getting some good, beautiful sunny weather at the moment. Good bit of overhead watering gets the dust off them as well. Little ones in the small pots, and this little ray boucher that's coming into bud clearly needs its first watering of the year. So I'm going to do all of these in these small pots actually, because a chance to sort of dry out a bit as well for the move. Just enough to give them a wetting. So therapeutic to do the first watering of the year, guys. And this is sort of earlier than normal, as I say. Normally wait to the middle of April, but it's April now anyway, so even though it's early April and we're having this good weather, it's good to do. Good to get all that dust off from the winter. These are clearly going red, and yes, it needs repotting. I'll have to wait till after the move, but they're taking a red appearance when they're getting plenty of sun as well. And that dust off them. Just to show you just how much I give them the first watering after the winter months. As you can see, just a light watering there to wake up their delicate roots. Now when it comes to overhead watering with plants that are very sort of compact like this, I do tend to avoid and go close to the edges, and that's because I don't want any water in between the stem segments that could cause bits of rotting. I'm going to water this. Although this is a bigger cactus here, this Echinopsis is quite clearly showing signs of severe shrivelling also. Just the wee water it. Let's get that diatomaceous off. I'll hold back on that one. These ones are sort of okay, they can go a bit longer, and I think that's it on this table. So I'm going to show you over here the ones I'm going to be watering as well, just to set them up. Now I'm going to be watering a lot of the succulents obviously, but I'm just going to show you a few examples in here so I'm not boring you with too long of a video. Clearly, again, these Echinocereus gentries can have a wee bit of water because they're hanging. This is how they grow anyway, but they're coming into bud, quite actively budding, so I do think a bit of water on these as well. Go deep into the pots. One thing I like about these nozzles as well, when I say nozzles, the watering nozzle, is you can reach in between, because overhead watering is great, but with these type of plants it's good to get into the base as much as possible. And this light watering, the very first watering after the winter, is just enough to set them up, because as I mentioned, going too deep with the heavy watering initially after the winter, it can be a bit too much, and the weather can still change so much at this time of year in early April. And look how shriveled. This is at the clearly signs of sun stress and water stress, all coming into bud here. Lots of buds forming as you can see. So they're definitely going to appreciate this good first watering after being dry for so many months. And again, all these are in small pots, so I do have to top these up. And this Robutia, I'm going to leave all the others, they're sort of okay, they go a bit longer. Robutia Rorschach, and these Camelobbivias as well, very tiny pots. And these are always the first that do like to come into bud for me as well, so they do need their watering. And this one, although it's quite a big cactus, this Camelobivia, it's clearly in bud, clearly shriveled, half the size it normally is. And after this has had its even a light watering like this, you will not believe the difference when it fattens up and it's starting to come into bud as well. We see just the little fluffy parts starting to develop. This one is not looking too good, but it bursts into life after it's in the water as well, this Robutia. These definitely, and look at this one as well, Camoceras, a load of cuttings in here. So these going to love that. And this Lobivia, this is actually, don't look at how it looks now guys, because once it is had its second watering, it really lifts itself up, greens up and bursts into the most amazing flower. This is what this plant looks like when it is in flower, guys. As you can see, the flowers are magnificent, and probably in a few weeks time this hanging weird looking cactus is going to burst back into life again and burst back into flower. Now it's going to be getting its first watering. So though I said I'm not going to be watering any till I move, there has to be a reason why I'm having to give these light watering now, because they're not going to go much longer. Now these also Camelobbivias, also coming into bud, all red, clearly showing signs of sun and water stress. As I say, if I didn't water these for another couple of weeks till after the move, they're not going to die, but I don't want to lose out on their valuable flowering time, which is now. Just give these little Echinopsis seedlings a wee watering as well. So that's it, that's all I'm going to be doing. As I mentioned, all of the big taller ones there, the big ones, they can definitely go, they can go another couple of weeks till after we move house. So all fun and games there. And now I'm going to be obviously watering all of the succulents up. I'm going to be giving them a proper watering. They're going to burst back into life. These are all okay as well. These can go until after we move as well, because then they're not really showing any signs of shriveling. I'll just double check if there's any that do need to have a bit of a watering on here. Maybe, yes, there's one there. These little Echinoceriuses, definitely, they're in way too small pots to not have a bit of a water there. And even this Silka Robutia as well. Now I'm just going to take you over to this other table, because I'm going to show you, these are the ones that definitely have to be watered up. Now a lot of these, you know, again they could wait another couple of weeks, but I don't want to waste valuable flowering time as well. So this is my Mammillaria carminera, and that one would really benefit from its good first drink in there. Some of these in the small pots, and look at this Mammillaria campetrica. This is so shriveled, and you will not believe the difference in a few days time when this really does take up from the watering. Again, these are in way too small pots to go too long. I think that's pretty much it. Just a light watering, as I mentioned here, and this lovely beautiful Mammillaria too. Bit of a, literally just enough to dampen the soil with their first watering here. And I think the rest are all pretty much okay here. Silka Robutia could probably do with Ariocarpus are also clearly showing signs of shriveling, so I'm going to just give them a top up too. And these Robutias. And that's pretty much it. And this one here, as I mentioned, I can't remember the name of it, but it's related to the lithops succulent. This is very dehydrated, but again, this bursts into life once it's had a bit of a water in there. So there we go, that's it. So thanks so much for watching, everyone, and do please subscribe if you haven't done already. Do give this video a like, and do leave a comment in the comments down below, even a heart or smiley face, because every comment really helps the algorithm. And have you guys started watering up your cacti yet? Let me know in the comments down below. Check out my website for lots more growing tips on there, desertplantsofavalon.com. I want to wish you all an absolutely amazing cactus powered day.